Big picture, high level, we get veterans and first responders together, create a community, a tribe, build camaraderie, and we do that through the outdoors. Whether that's hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, whatever that looks like, we're doing it outdoors. We are not like a crisis response organization. We are kind of like a rite of bang organization.
Today, I am thrilled to welcome in Logan McKinney. After serving 6 years as an Air Force Security Forces member, Logan left active duty and pursued a career in law enforcement. He served in several different capacities during his time on the street, and his transition was actually very challenging. But when he went on a turkey hunt in Southwest Colorado with a fellow vet, he again found his sense of purpose, camaraderie, and the will to see another day, which we are thrilled to hear. His vision for Second Chance Outdoors was then born. It is a hope that he could provide a mental, physical, and spiritual wellness for our nation's peacekeepers. So Logan, thank you for being here today. Appreciate you taking the time.
Holy cow, thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about let's start just like broad strokes. What does Second Chance Outdoors do?
Big picture, high level, we get veterans and first responders together, create a community, a tribe, build camaraderie, and we do that through the outdoors. Whether that's hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, whatever that looks like, we're doing it outdoors.
Okay, so all outdoor activities. See, I was thinking it was just hunting. I didn't know you guys had all these other things going too. So already learning something. So take us back to the beginning, the moment that you had the idea for this organization and how it impacted you personally.
Talking about that turkey hunt in Southwest Colorado, I had just come back from a deployment in Afghanistan as a contractor, kind of working through some stuff. Had the opportunity to go on that turkey hunt. Didn't know the guy at the time and didn't know that he was a veteran. We had the opportunity to share camp together, break bread, get out into the mountains and chase thunder chickens, and had some of the best conversations that I've ever had. And we kind of laughed, joked, and hemmed and hawed about man, this is kind of what the VA should do. This is a thing. This needs to be something that we're offering to veterans and first responders. And fast forward a couple of years, his name's AJ. He is out fighting fires in the mountains in the western half of the United States. That is his calling. That is his love. And so he's out doing his thing. But Second Chance Outdoors, I was able to take a couple other guys out on a hunt, had the same very similar kind of interaction that AJ and I had in Colorado. And it was right then and there, it was we need to run with this Second Chance Outdoors thing. Mm-hmm. And off to the races we went.
What do you think it is about nature and about being outside that lends itself so well to these kinds of conversations that you might not have elsewhere?
I think you get back to a primal instinct. You get away from the phone, you get away from the screen, you get into camp with like-minded individuals who are there to accomplish the same task. Whether that's a harvest of, a successful hunt or the experience of the hunt. We're all there for similar things, and it allows for free-flowing conversation.
Do you, as a veteran, do a lot of your peers, are they averse to just traditional therapy? And this is a way to kind of allow them to get it out? You're laughing because it's a hard yes, I think. So is this a way to for them to get it out if they're uncomfortable sitting in an office with a professional or whatever?
I think there's a time and place for all therapy. I think the VA has gotten a bad rap over the years, and they kind of earned it there for a little while. And they're doing, incredible work now to fix some of the things that they were missing on. Getting guys and gals together in the outdoors, in that space with those folks who we don't push any kind of questions on you. It's just organically flowing. We had one hunt where we were at 11,000 feet in Colorado, and this guy just decided to tell me about a horrific incident that occurred to him in Iraq. He hasn't talked about it since his AARs, which is a thing that you have to go through after an incident like that. And he was able to kind of close that chapter of his life on the mountain there, and he's doing some great things.
That's amazing. I just got like full body chills. So how do you decide whether a hunting, fishing, or camping trip is appropriate for someone? Like, do most of these guys that are coming to you have hunting and fishing experience, and they already know which one they will like, or how do you determine that?
So some guys do have background in hunting, whether they did it as a kid with their grandpa or their dad when they were growing up before they joined the military, or maybe they just have an interest of it. We'll take and teach, or we'll take and I don't want to use the word guide because we're not licensed guides, but go and accompany somebody who's more experienced in the outdoors.
What has the reception been like to this organization? Like, I feel like, I'll be honest, I've been around you guys and around the organization for several years now. And I feel like every time I see you, I'm like, so what exactly do you do again? Like, I have to have you clarify. Is it like that a lot, or do a lot of people get it right away?
I think so. It was kind of cool. I had the opportunity of working with another nonprofit here in Kansas City last year, War Horses for Veterans. Had the opportunity to take their director of operations out on a hunt, and their photographer also followed us. So it was like two birds, one stone, because their director of ops is a former local here to Kansas City law enforcement officer, and their photographer is a former Iraq war veteran. And the photographer, we're day 3 or 4, he goes, man, I get it. He goes, these things talk to you. And he's pointing at the mountains. He goes, I get it. I 100% get it now. And this was after a night of incredible conversation, working through, closures and new chapters and things like that. So guys and gals who have been to the mountains or who are avid outdoorsmen and avid hunters, they totally get it. But for somebody who hasn't maybe experienced that, it's hard to wrap their head around it. And I talk to my wife about this all the time. I'm like, man, it's hard to talk about an intangible and how powerful this vehicle can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to understand because I'm not, I like to drink on patios. That's the extent of my like outdoorsiness. So
hey, I'm there with you. I'm there with you.
Is there like an age range that typically is drawn to this? Or is it like typically younger guys, older guys, all ages, and women too? How do you what kind of person reaches out and is like, hey, I'm interested in this typically?
So our program, as we have evolved over the years, we've kind of gained our identity in our space and the way that we want to operate. And we are not like a crisis response organization. We are kind of like a rite of bang organization. So say, Rachel, say you're my police officer. You've been a detective in Kansas City for a while. You're doing, working horrific crime scenes. You've had a bad day where you may or may not have attempted suicide. You've worked through that, right? You've identified that I don't want to go back there. That was a bad way. I want to work on growth. I want to work on this thing that I keep hearing about, post-traumatic growth. Those are the folks that we tend to work with because that's where we have the resources. That's where we have the knowledge. I'm not a crisis counselor. I'm not an ER person. You know what I mean? And we're not trying to take somebody who's in crisis out to the backcountry, because then a whole nother thing could go wild. Yeah. But we use those folks coming out of crisis that want to grow and give them the opportunities, the tools, tactics, and procedures to work towards that growth.
Yeah. How many like hunts and trips per year are you doing right now? And do you have like a tangible goal of like, this is where we want to see this organization grow, where we can do this many per year kind of thing? Like, do you have numbers to it?
Absolutely. So we would like to do 4 Barbary sheep hunts in West Texas a year. Would like to do at least 1 elk hunt in Colorado and at least 12 whitetail hunts here locally.
That's a lot.
Yes.
So tell me about has it grown on a pace that you're happy with so far? Or do you feel like a little frustrated it's not growing as much as you want to see? Or do you feel like you're right on pace to hit those goals eventually?
Nonprofit work is very finicky. It's all about, relationships, building a donor base, building sponsorships, creating events, and creating value for people to essentially buy into your idea, your theory of wellness for veterans. And as we have evolved, so has our fundraising efforts, our donation techniques, and our board. 3 years ago, would I like to be where I am now? Of course not, because my eyes were this big and probably not realistic, but hindsight, looking at the organization where we're at now from a 60,000 foot or higher level, I'm extremely proud of the work that we've done, and the pace that we're on this year is going to just be astronomical.
That's awesome. Tell me about those fundraising efforts. Like, what do you guys do? What have you done that's been really great? What do you have coming up? All that good stuff.
So we just finished our very first Fairways in Freedom, a golf tournament out here in Eastern Jackson County. Phenomenal event. We had over 60 golfers come out, veterans, first responders, business owners, and supporters alike. And we had a great time. Awesome. Our next real big one, we've got a couple of, local events like Skillet Days, Grain Valley Fair, things like that. Our next big one is going to be in Overland Park at Chicken and Pickle on Veterans Day. We're going to host a 22K ruck march.
Okay. So this is where I'm like, oh yeah, a ruck march. Like, sign me up.
I know what that is.
What am I signing up for? Tell us, what is a ruck march and why does it have to be 22K? It's so long.
So 22 is a tip of the hat, a nod of the head, if you will, to the estimated 22 veterans who commit suicide a day. That number is estimated to be a little bit higher nowadays, unfortunately. I think those are coming off pandemic numbers as well. So hopefully we'll see kind of some good trending data coming out here. But a ruck march, it's a military style workout. It is an endurance event about your brain. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is start walking with a backpack and don't stop.
I feel like you're being vague on purpose. Like, are they gonna throw out obstacles in front of you that you suddenly have okay, now climb over this, go, 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 or you literally just walk with the backpack?
You throw some weight in the backpack, and obviously we want to do this in a way that is inclusive to our entire Kansas City community, veterans, first responders, people with disabilities, people who may not be in the best shape that they've ever been in, but want to come out and support and just do something hard. Come out and walk the whole thing without a backpack. I don't care. You're building that community here, showing that support for our veterans and our local first responders. And quite frankly, you're going to get a nice cold frosty beverage from Boulevard Beer and a great party place at Chicken and Pickle when you're done. So why not?
Why not? Yeah. Okay. I guess as long as you promise not to throw obstacles out in front of me.
Nope. No obstacles.
That's awesome. Very good. Well, what hunts do you have? Do you have stuff planned this year? Do you already have trips booked, or kind of how does that process work?
So normally by this time of year, we have Colorado booked in stone. Like nothing is derailing that. With winter and the amount of snow that the western states have seen, they're kind of changing the ways that they're doing some tag things this year. So long story short, no, we don't have Colorado planned. That's coming in August, but whitetail will go on as planned.
Which is winter here, right? Like November. And I don't hunt. Can you tell?
It's cold here in November.
That's deer season though, right?
Yes, and it falls on Veterans Day weekend, so I won't be for rifle opening day because that's actually lands on Veterans Day this year, I believe. So I'll have to go ruck and then head into camp the day after. I'm sure Megan will be thrilled.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll be a busy weekend for you guys.
It will be.
So yeah, speaking of family, you mentioned your wife. Do a lot of these veterans have families, and how do their families get involved with this, opportunity that they have and support them? Kind of, do families ever go with them, or is it more just go do this, you should do this kind of thing? What do you usually see?
Yes, it is a go do this thing. It is what I have found. The guys that really benefit from what we do, the program and how we execute it out on the mountain or in the tree stand, they don't raise their hand. It's their wife that says, this guy, take him. Or friends. I've had friends come in and say, hey, our buddy, this X, Y, and Z occurred. He needs to go. But that's usually the family dynamic. And of course, going into the backcountry can cause some anxiety in itself back home. So we have all the latest gizmos and gadgets. So we're not completely disconnected from the world. We can call 911. Our hunters will be able to text and call home throughout the event, even if they don't have cell phone signal. So,
that's nice.
Because we know that's an important aspect to this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. So I was kind of flipping through your website before we hopped on here. I see you have like an application on there. Is there a form to nominate someone else? And does that happen a lot? Or do they just kind of fill out their info and say, here, I just submitted this for you?
So you will knock out the application on their behalf, and I will get to make that phone call to speak with the nominee. After the application process, they will then kind of hop on a video like you and I are right here. It's recorded, and then that goes to the board. Then we all have a vote to make sure that, you know, we're executing the mission at the highest level and that we're 100% accountable. Mm-hmm. The board will then vote on who's going to get to go on this year's elk hunt based on availability that we have.
Do you have more demand than you can meet at this point? Or is it kind of even where you can pretty much meet the demand for now, at least?
No, we've got more. We've got demands. Oh. Everybody wants to go hunting, obviously. But there are definitely guys that are qualified that I would love to get into the mountains to have this opportunity. Then I have the capability of doing. Yeah. And that's just growing pains. We'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do you have a background in nonprofit profit work at all, or has this world been like all learning for you? Yeah.
I don't want to be a statistic. I want to share this with everybody because it's absolutely life-changing. And as soon as I found out, that I wanted to share it and it worked based on personal experience and stories like that, it's been head first and figuring it out.
Are there any like other organizations in the metro that you look to as like, they've got it figured out, I really want to like model us after them and kind of do what they're doing?
There's two specifically here that stick out in my mind. I wouldn't say that we want to model their organization, but I would love to implement some of the things that they do in their programs. War Horses for Veterans and then Warriors Ascent. They take the holistic approach to wellness, the whole mind, body, soul, nutrition, spirit thing, and put it on steroids. And the product that those guys are putting out is absolutely game changing. And so, yeah, if I were going to model anything, it would be after those two local organizations here in Kansas City.
Does Kansas City have kind of an average number of veterans or higher than other cities? Do you know do we have like any?
Not sure of the average, but I mean, getting tapped into the veteran community here, the veteran community in Kansas City is so strong, and it's like tight knit, and everybody knows everybody, and it's powerful, and it is one of the coolest communities I've had the opportunity to tap into.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's interesting for you because you've lived all over the country, really. Well, I guess most of you guys have. It's kind of the nature of the business. But
yeah,
somewhere like that with that kind of support. Yeah.
It's way cool to be able to come back home after all these experiences and be able to come back to where I started from and then bring this organization back to Kansas City and bring kind of my shared experiences from the West and implement them here.
Yeah, super cool. Anything else you want to share about Second Chance Outdoors?
Come on out to Chicken and Pickle. I would love to have you. Full transparency, my goal is to have 100 participants. So get signed up. Frosty beverage, challenge coin, swag bag, good time.
Love it. Sounds awesome. Can't wait. Okay, last question. This is something I ask everyone that comes on the podcast. So what is a great meal you've had in Kansas City recently? Like went out to dinner and it was just bomb and everyone needs to know about it.
Marina 27.
Ooh, that's a good one. We haven't had that
all day.
Yeah.
All day.
What'd you get? What was particularly delicious?
Their lobster bisque is phenomenal, and then their rainbow trout.
Good ones. Okay, absolutely. I go there all the time, but now I'm like, haven't been there in a hot minute. I think it's time again. It's delicious.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
So good. All right. Well, Logan, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you and Second Chance Outdoors if they're looking to learn more?
Absolutely. So secondchanceoutdoors.net is the website. Instagram, Second Chance Outdoors. Facebook, Second Chance Outdoors. Other Instagram is Logan McKinney _ S.C.O. So
perfect. Easy enough. Okay. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you, Rachel.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today. If we haven't already, let's connect. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Rach the Realtor KC. We're back right here every Thursday morning with a new guest on Connecting KC. See you next time.